But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. Ah, hugs! What, really? Oh yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor. Oh, please don't. Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure. Let's start right now. Take a fighting stance. Ooh, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Story-Driven Gamer, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are hopping back into the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. This should be a pretty short recap, because not a whole lot, like, plot-wise or revelation-wise happened. Pretty much the episode was spent doing an investigation with Mikotoba and Sholmes. We were trying to find out where Jigoku was, or find out if he was still alive, if he was on the ship. Turns out he was. And we found him, he locked himself in his trunk. And the sailor, Beef Stroganoff's brother, Chicken Stroganoff, was helping keep Jigoku hidden. I guess he was trying to get out of the country and escape the Reaper, because they already had a little altercation. But we found him, we convinced him to, to travel back to England, so that he can testify in the trial, which his testimony will be crucial, since he was a target of the Reaper the Bailey. And that's pretty much where we left off. It's gonna take Jigoku some time to get back to, get back to England. He's still on the ship. The ship has to make its way back, so that afforded us another day. Like I said, I thought this was just gonna be one massive trial, but it looks like we are about to hop into an investigation. I'm not sure whether the investigation will be if we're going back to Sholmes and Mikotoba, or if we're going to be sticking with Ryunosuke this time. But yeah, this trial is very exciting. It's been a bit tricky, I've noticed. Like, it's definitely upping the ante, and there's so much to keep in mind. So I feel like overall, I'm fumbling a bit, but it's also exciting, because it's like, I feel like I'm constantly slapped in the face with, like, twists and things I didn't see coming, so we'll see if that continues throughout the rest of the trial, or the rest of this case. But for now, let's hop back in. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Bailey, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Okay, so they're back. Cool. Oh, we're having a feast. I see turkey, or chicken maybe. Lots of veggies. I think that's some kind of pie. Wine. We have returned, my dear fellows. Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help. Think nothing of it. I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I, no? That's debatable. You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier. But other than that, we're doing fine. So this prosecutor Asagi had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say? He's dead to me now. No, I'm kidding. We're still buds. Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Kazuma's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin. Yeah. I don't know if he actually was, though. Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. I keep going back and forth. I had an early prediction that, Kazuma was the Reaper. We now know it's an organization, but I still think he could be part of it, but he also seems to have his own agenda. But nevertheless, you must introduce me. Maybe someday. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse. Ah! Those were the days. When all this started, almost a year ago now. Who knew he was faking the whole time? Oh! Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. About the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie. Now then, I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France. Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Judge Jigoku? Is he not with us? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him. You could say that. Ah yes, I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home. What is it? Surely you haven't forgotten already. I put upon you for the match only yesterday. That's right, he gave us a telegram to give to who was it? It was Mikotoba, right? Who was on his way to the telegraph office or whatever it's called. You put upon me, Sholmes. I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well. Yes. Oh, you've had a reply already? Yeah, that seems awfully quick. What was so urgent though, Mr. Sholmes? Such matters can wait until later. I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present. You know, there is a thing called, you know, talking while you eat, you know. That's usually what you do at dinner tables, but... Nah, we'll just eat in silence, and then you can tell us. Well, that's good news, because supper is all ready, everyone. Ah, and what a feast it is! If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial were won already. Ah! Sadly, it's not. Roast beef, kippers, steaks, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding. I see the pudding. Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up. In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only one set with a helping of pheasant as well. Don't think I've ever had pheasant. Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there. Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening? Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy. Ah, for me. That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. Ah, that's cute. I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. I love Mickey Mouse. It's a shame, really. What do you mean? Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean. Wait. Oh. But she wasn't there when we talked about... Wait, was she? I don't think she was there when we talked about that. Was Iris listening in, or did she hear about it? Iris, do you mean... Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. I secretly listened in to the conversation you had, after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left. Ah, smart girl, smart girl. What? You okay, Sholmes? Ooh, the music. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. That's right, Mikotoba was the one who actually penned the autopsy report, right? And it was his signature. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotoba are Iris' father. Okay, this isn't something we actually learned, is it? Or am I just being dumb? Yes, about that, Iris. You know, I know. You can't tell me at the moment. Oh, Iris. That's what I mean by there's a lot of info to keep track of. I'm like, I remember them talking that Iris might have been Mikotoba's father, and then us getting interrupted. But I don't know if we, the audience, were we told that, Iris definitively wasn't either their, daughters? I don't know. I can't remember. The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping. I think nothing of it. Oh, no, that's quite alright. Then why don't I get an apologetic pheasant? Why not me? So just who is Iris' father? I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today. Huh. So then, let us dine, while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot. Okay, well I'm sure the answer to Iris' father will definitely be revealed in this game, I would imagine. A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious. Eat as much as you like. There are always seconds. You don't have to tell me twice. This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. Or our last supper, so to speak. about that telegram from Japan and about Kazuma. I can't let this opportunity slip away. Hello, Sholmes. How are you doing? Is it just Sholmes? Where'd everybody go? Okay, good. There's nothing to really examine. I'll try examining the food. Oh, even the food we can't examine. Well, it didn't say that there's any new dialogue. Okay. In that case, let's just talk to Sholmes. I guess everybody just left. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ah, Sholmes is sad. Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes. Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy, so get over yourself. Even though I played the role of father to you for far longer, I don't care, you're nothing to me. Mr. Sholmes, could I discuss some things with you? Some important things? Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation to get my mind off things. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love of game. I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. So be it. You needn't look at me in that fashion. In what fashion? I'm just looking at you like normal. It seems that before we discuss the pheasant, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss. Ah! Get it? Yes, I got it. You're always so funny, Sholmes. So punny in this case. Just look at my armband. Mr. Sholmes, would you mind looking at this? This is hardly the time, Mr. Naruhodo. You've shown me that 10,000 times already. I'm quite done, talking about it. Oh, no, of course not. My attention is entirely drawn to one single matter now. The pheasant. Anyone would think you hadn't eaten in weeks. No, just 1 week, actually. Okay. I feel like I'm not going to say anything about anything, so... Telegram from Japan. So, what was in the telegram we received back from Japan, then? This! I thank my lucky stars that arrived in time. Oh, wait, one more thing I want to do. Sorry. Do we have those other pieces of evidence? We do. Just these two, right? Now we can actually look at them. Evacuation drill notice, 31st of October. Following a departure from the port of Dunkirk, all crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. In order to review evacuation procedures, the drill will take place... Oh, will take 20 minutes, sorry. Crew to resume duties as soon as drill is over, okay? And then we have to figure out what this belongs to. It's a small component. Oh, I had an idea, actually. This might belong to Gregson's clock, maybe? I don't know. It doesn't look like a dial. You see these little things all over the place, don't you? Oh, there we go. It's the part on the top of a pocket watch that you twist to set the time, isn't it? It's called the crown, I believe. It does look like a crown. A watch would be quite useless without one. The crown? Like what sits on top of a monarch's head? That's a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually, it looks exactly like a crown, so... Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? If this is a crown, that makes me king! I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here somewhere with a very bare head. If by monarch you mean pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have. Indeed. So they actually gave me that one. Okay, now if I go to the pocket watch, am I able to, let's see what happens if I examine this part. What do you think, Miss Suzuto? I feel sure I know exactly what will fit here. I just have this weird inkling. Really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing. Who would have thunk? We're about to see that little round component. It's actually part of Inspector Gregson's broken pocket watch. Really? I was just thinking precisely that too. Yeah, totally. I know what you're talking about, yes. Oh, it doesn't fit. Too bad. Looks like a perfect fit to me. Exactly, Suzuto. A perfect fit! I knew it! Sure you did, Ryunosuke, sure you did. Alright, perhaps you knew it. I'll make a note of this new information at once. Okay, so that was found in the trunk, right? Which means... Let me think. Which means... The pocket watch was at one point in the trunk, which means Gregson was in that trunk, and that trunk belonged to Jigoku, right? Did Jigoku kill him, and was Gregson's body placed in that trunk? There was a trunk at the scene though. Okay, well let's keep going. Don't want to take too much time on that. Ah, this, I think my lucky stars, it arrived in time. Record found as indicated, duplicate follows. K. Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. What does that mean? What? Those 4 names? We've come across that exact same list before. Was that the list of people on the disc from the last game? We're gonna get a flashback to that game? They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. Yeah, oh, flashbacks. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. In exposing the means by which these secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of a message. Yep, K. Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. Yep, these were all people involved. And A. Shin was the person I didn't know at the time, but we now know that's Jesli Brett. So cool. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew is that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. Oh, it's so intriguing. Again, I love the connections between the 2 games. So why are the names coming up again now? Yes, where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes? I have here the message I had wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Please do. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List of 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo. That's me. I sent it to a detective I know who specializes in clandestine missions of this nature. You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you. Hey! I love how they're using that picture of him. That's when he's in like the swimsuit. I guess is that the only time we saw him in this game? The first case where he was dressed like that because he was at the beach house where Shin was murdered. And in my name? I wonder what guise he opted for this time. My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand? Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishua's office, as Sholmes predicted. Interesting. So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was... It was sent to Judge Jigoku! He was the intended recipient! So what does that mean, though? I don't believe it. Maybe we don't know yet. But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. Yeah, what's all their connection? Hopefully they're not all involved in the Reaper stuff. Because Mikotoba was on there. We obviously know Gregson, or at least we think Gregson and Shin were. Who am I missing? Who was the first name? It was Mikotoba, Gregson, Shin. Why am I forgetting a name already? Oh well, I'm sure I can read the telegram. I don't know if it's in my court record yet, though. I did formulate a hypothesis about that, but without a shred of evidence, I couldn't possibly have shared it. Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for... Oh, Kazuma was the other name. So I don't know if we're gonna find out they're all involved with the Reaper. That'd be crazy. They're all part of the Reaper group. There it is. A telegram from Inspector Hosonaga in Japan. The details of the telegram he managed to locate by stealing into Jogoku's office. So Jogoku had it and it was stolen from him. Yeah. Record found as indicated. Kioski, just the names. Kioski, Aishin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson, Hosonaga. Okay. Interesting. Because again, if we're making connections, we know that the connection between Aishin and T. Gregson is that they're part of the Reaper group. Unless we're wrong about that, so maybe we'll find out they all are. That would be wild. Okay, Kazuma's death. Or a faked death. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing. Kazuma wasn't dead at all. Ha! Wasn't that hilarious? We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detective's lie. I took no pleasure in deceiving you. Well, maybe a little. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost. Oh. What? Why is that? I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan. Interesting. His remains, you mean? Precisely, Miss Suzuto. And then, I made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead. That would be me. Oh my, you mean... The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asagi. Again, why? I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least. Wait, do you mean to say that trying to keep Kazuma away? It was all in aid of stopping Kazuma coming to Britain? That's why you... Think back, Mr. Naruhodo. Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England? The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice of both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asagi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. I'm trying to remember how this went down. This was the last game, after all. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an oh, it's Sholmes, I think. Have an extremely simple solution, you know? All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. So is that Sholmes' behest that we continued on? But there is no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. The voyage to London still promises a good month of time. That's right, I studied law on the boat. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Or make one. So, you manipulated me? Precisely. I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend. And I did. I don't believe it. But if it was all contrived... I mean, what happened was treated by the authorities as murder. That's true. What about this whole incident? A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her? She got the death sentence! Ah! Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. She's just gonna spend 10 years in jail, of course. Nothing too major. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought. I seem to remember Miss Suzuto and I had some rather strong words for her. Yeah. Mind me to apologize to her later, if I ever see her again. Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure. True, I guess she was the cause of the accident. I wonder if she made it to America then. America! I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it. Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? Why are you so determined to stop Cosmosama from reaching Britain? The truth is, 12 months ago, it was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see? Oh! An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand. That doesn't sound good. An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. Do I have to present something? What if I show him this again? There's no room for doubt with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jagoku's office that should be searched, so... You obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found. Indeed. K. Asagi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson. But we only learned of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top-secret government communications that were leaked. That's true, yes. But at the time, we were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. 6 months before that? So a year ago? It really would be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communication between the British and Japanese governments. Okay. You're perpetually doing what? How? Oh, the music's picking up. Never mind the details. But you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes. When he has designs on knowing it. Okay. Oh my, Mr. Sholmes. What a fabulous line. Write that down, Ryunosuke. Write it down. Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jagoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. That's right. Oh, that's right. Did I say Mikotobo was on the list? I meant Wilson. I mean, obviously we read the names. But, just to clarify, my voice is cracked. As soon as I learned of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. As it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow. Mr. Sholmes, please, tell us all you know. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they're all somehow connected. The tragedy. The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, of course. This is actually a Danganronpa game. Oh, okay, the 4 names. As I said, when I learned of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names. Because you see, there was someone else on the list, who I believe to be recently deceased. Someone on the list... Wilson? I mean, Gregson just died. I mean, all of them are dead at the moment, so... Maybe Wilson? What? Who? Oh. Oh, dang. Eishin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Miss Asa Shin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, well known among London's unsavory classes. Oh, I see. I feel like you wouldn't be able to kill her easily. For she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the remaining 2 persons on the list. Ah, K. Asagi and T. Gregson. Oh, that's why he was keeping him away. Owing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest for young Asagi to stay away from Britain. Okay, so he was doing it for his best interests. And so that's why he went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead. Exactly. So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes? Of course. Oh, yes. Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. Oh, that makes sense. I'd recounted many tales about Osuki to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. Are we implying that she's still alive now? So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? Yeah. I didn't know. That's because we kept it from you, on purpose. Oh, Iris. I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad. Iris sad now. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. Yeah. No. I get why they didn't tell her, but I still think they should have, been transparent. But I guess it doesn't matter at the moment since we know that it's not her dad. He's not her dad. But you just told us, Mr. Sholmes. Doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis. A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo? Whose hole? I mean, what? Oh, yes. You mean about Asa Shin, I presume? Oh, of course. Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Jesli Brett. I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only become aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel. Ah. And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis that I'd formed surrounding these 4 names was completely turned topsy-turvy, some might say. What? Topsy? Topsy hypothesis. This is exciting, keep going. What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes? I believed all 4 names on the list to be the names of victims. Oh, are we about to say that they were all perpetrators? However, I was mistaken. I might be right. Let's see. Very much so. Asa Shin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it? Indeed. And it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Wait a minute, let me see something real quick. Because the names are laid out in a very specific way. Kazuma and Kazuma and Shin are together. Gregson and Wilson are together. So what if they're right, it's victims, and so what if Shin and Kazuma are the perpetrators, which would mean the Reaper, and then Gregson and Wilson are both victims of the Reaper. Asuki is the one who's trying to, convince us that Gregson was with the Reaper. Actually, who first told us that? That was Van Zykes, actually, right? Who told us that Gregson was, was the tactician, and Shin was the one carrying it out. But maybe we have that wrong. Her visiting student status being merely a front. Ah. Which would of course explain why no motive could be determined for her actions. Right, she was just a hitman. So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Asa Shin is because he was the target of an assassination. Oh, I love it. Going back to the very first case of the very first game. We're in the last case of the second game. We're going all the way back there and completely turning that case on its head. And forearmed with the knowledge plus consideration of this telegram, puts this in a very different perspective. What do you mean? Well, does it not strike you? There is another among the 4, who subsequently became a visiting student. Kazuma. Wait, you mean... But of course, a name you know only too well. You mean... Kazuma? Oh, shitballs. He did say in court earlier today. Remind me? He said a lot of things. Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk. in order to carry out her mission. Yeah. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Young Mr. Asaki accepted that mission a year ago now. Surely not. Like I said, was it to kill Gregson? In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange. Exchange, that's how you say that word. An assassin exchange? How could Cosmo possibly have got involved in something like that? Oh my gosh, we're learning so much. Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. Those two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. Oh. That would then be an assassin exchange. So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. Oh, and oh, interesting. And then Chesley, who is British, was sent to Japan. Well, that's what they're talking about here. I mean the other way around. Cosmo, who's Japanese, was sent to Britain. And then the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his target. It certainly does sound like an exchange. In more ways than one, but what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh, yes. Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels? These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated, yet in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That disassociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot. But wait a minute, Sholmes. If this telegram really describing the exchange of assassins as you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. It was Gregson. It would mean Asaki's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Cosmo was here for Gregson? So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the Mark. So, but why was he attacked? Or was he attacked? Yes, that's exactly what it would mean. That telegram is very important. Holy cow. I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe. Mr. Sholmes. I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. Obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow. Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him. Ah, it's all coming together. But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last. This is too much to take in. I'm with you, Ryunosuke. But then what was Gregson's mission? Because we've been under the assumption that his mission, that he was with the Reapers. I don't know why I'm calling them the Reapers. I guess it's shorter than saying the Reaper of the Bailey. And since we know that they're an organization, it's multiple Reapers, technically. But anyway, we know that he's a part of the Reaper of the Bailey organization. So we thought he was, his mission was an assassination. But if that was Kazuma's mission, what was Gregson doing? Why did he go to the ship? Why did he go with Kazuma? We learned a lot there. Alright everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Hurley? I mean, look at the time. Oh, it's getting late. Ah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow. What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel room now. This has certainly been a night to remember. Bye. It is a little bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then Susie would have been my big sister. Aw, that would have been cute. They kind of do act like sisters already. I'm sorry, Iris. I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing. Were you? But if somebody like me would be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. Aww. Hugs! What, really? Oh yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor. Oh, please don't. Yes, yes, of course. It would be my pleasure. Let's start right now. Take a fighting stance. You didn't have to agree quite so readily. Jeez Louise. Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, can I be your big brother? You can be my big brother if you want, Runo. It's like we're playing house together. Huh? I mean, sure. I mean, yes, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother. I'll be your bro. Yo. Well done, Iris. You must always be mindful of feelings. I've raised you so well. Ah ha 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 ha. Just keep in mind I want no part of this imaginary family you're preparing. Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally. Ah ha ha, I'm so funny. Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now. Because it's for my big brother and sister. I've always wanted to say this. Hug me, brother! What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing what? Hee hee. You'll just have to wait and see. It's a big surprise. Oh boy. Should I be worried? Oh. Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance. I'll do my very best, of course. I'm not making any promises. I've been kind of sucking at this trial so far, but so the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths whilst posing new conundrums. That list of 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plot in which my best friend had somehow become involved. I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Oh, look at us! Because I was lucky enough to have my best friend with me. The power of friendship at my side, right? The most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Yeah, that too. Family. Family is the most important thing. To be continued. Alright. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that wasn't really an investigation. It was just kind of, we got to talk to Sholmes and get even more info. Again, I feel like I say this very, very often, but this game has been kind of masterful, more than even other Ace Attorney games, at just connecting everything, connecting all these pieces, connecting things from the previous game. I mean, I know like most of the Ace Attorney games, especially the mainline ones, are kind of each game is its self-contained story, so it doesn't necessarily have to connect to the others. But that's what I like about this game, is that I said this at the start of the Let's Play, or at least early on, that this game feels like it feels like a true continuation. Especially when I started, it almost didn't feel like a new game. It just felt like, it felt like part 2 of the last game. And a lot of that has to, in a good way, and a lot of that has to do with the interconnectedness, and we're constantly going back to characters that were introduced from the last game, characters that, kind of came and went, and then we're finding out they have bigger roles to play in this game, and, what we basically just got the payoff, from how the last game ended. One of the last things that happened in the last game was finding out what was on that disc and those 4 names appearing. And I remember A Shin was the one name I was like, who's that? Like, like, that's somebody we don't know. And I'm like, can't wait to figure, to meet them in the next game probably. And then we find out that we actually met them all along, that it was Jesli Brett. So, and going back in that, knowing that Jesli Brett or Shin was an assassin, and that's why she killed, we never got the motive at the time, but that's why she killed Wilson. It's just great. It's just awesome. I love how they're connecting these stories, and like I said, it's sad, but I think this is definitely the final stretch. The way that they ended that, it definitely seems like we're heading into the very last section of the game. And I'm excited. I'm excited to find out all the answers, because I'm sure there's still more twists to come. But I'm also sad because it's been a long, very fun journey, and it's sad to see it come to an end. Please make a great Ace Attorney 3, please. Even if this ends nicely. Now I'll take any Ace Attorney game, because I love this series so much. But I will leave it at that. I know this will be a slightly shorter episode. I just feel like where they ended it would be kind of weird to jump into the next part of the trial, especially because it has such a finality to it. I kind of want to have I might not do the whole trial in one episode, obviously, but we'll see how it goes. I expect it's going to be a lengthy trial. So, for those of you who have been watching, or even if you're just checking out this video and this is the first video of mine you've watched, I thank you for being here. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and the notification bell so you know more videos go up. Subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. And share the video and the channel with your friends, family, and loved ones. As always, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. So take care, and bye-bye.